We're back on the Vmax. So where are we? I've had to gather my thoughts because it's been about a week since I worked on this. I've been so busy with other things and it's been killing me not being able to get back to it. But okay, where were we up to? I called ECU, didn't I, in the last video because of the what's the fucking hell? You think I need a script or something, don't I? It's never going to happen. Yeah, so I called ECU because of the relationship between the crank position sensor and the firing event, if you remember. I'm sure a few of you were screaming at me saying, well, Jim, what about the loose connections to the ECU? And you're correct in thinking that the way these plugs just fell out of this ECU, it wasn't right, clearly, and it could quite easily have been a bad connection in one of these connection blocks, causing that, you know, if the ECU was intermittently seeing the crank position signal, then I mean it's potentially going to cause an issue like we're experiencing anyway. So I'm just adding this bit. Fucking I'll get to the point, man. I've tightened all the connections up on these connection blocks, and I'm just going to look. Well, I just have looked, and I'll show you. I've identified which wires are which for the cylinders in question, the two rear cylinders. So this is the common, and then these two are the pickup wires. So I've just been, he says, if it'll start. I really need to address this slow cranking, don't I? And she's away. Yeah, we'll get to that slow cranking in a minute. Right, I got this set up already. He says, why is that not working? I disconnected something. Oh, there we go. So that's one of the pickups at the ECU, and move the wire over. That's the other one. Still running badly. Let's turn it off. Still running badly, but the ECU is seeing the ignition pickup event fine. Yeah, I'm not worried about the connection between the ECU and the coil because it's the timing event that's moving, and a bad connection wouldn't cause the timing event to move around. Don't you dare say, does that make sense? Does that make sense? So that's that. I've got second-hand ECU on its way, with any luck. That's coming in the next couple of days. I'm just going to address this slow cranking problem because the battery was weak. I tested it and yeah, it needed a new battery. I've got a brand new UASA battery on it, and it's improved it, but it's not, as you can see, it's not right. So let's do a little bit of speak properly. Let's do a little bit of starter current draw measuring, and then we're going to get the starter motor off, which is a bit of a pain in the arse because it involves draining the water out to get some of the water pipes out of the way. Right, I'll bring you back in. I'm going to get me other oscilloscope. I'll get me pico scope because it's got a better amp clamp. Let's see some, yeah, back in a minute. Okay, so starter motor testing. Try and get to the bottom of why this has got a slow crank. So this is my setup. Got my pico scope and my tough pad thingy bob, and then I've got an amp clamp on the ground wire which goes from the back of the crankcase up to the negative terminal of the battery, and then I've got battery voltage. One of the channels of the scope hooked up to battery voltage as well. Right, let me get you a screen grab maybe of the tablet laptop, and I'll show you what my test is going to be. Okay, so let's set this scope up. Channel A is voltage. That needs to be 20 volt scale because we're on a 12 volt battery. And channel 2, which is the current clamp, that needs to be on a 200 amp scale. And then the time base, what are we on there? 5 milliseconds, that's way too fast. Let's go 1 second per division. Let's crank it, stop that, start it again. Let's start it and gather some data and then pause it and have a look. Contact. That's all we need, a quick little start. Stop that. Go back to the other waveform, which is that one. And let's zoom in here. Wowzers. Okay, so the red trace is current and the green trace is voltage. So what we can do, we'll pull some cursors down, take some measurements. So the voltage is dropping to 8.6 volts and it's pulling 182 amps. Now I can tell you, without looking up any specifications, it's pulling way too much current. I don't know what a new starter would be, just over 100 amps, around 100 amps maybe, big engine like this, that would be my guess. So we could do some calculations from this. Stand by. Okay, so we can use Ohm's law, because there's no ambiguity here. These are exact measurements. We know what the current flow is, and we know what the voltage drop is. We can work out the resistance through the starter motor, well, through the entire circuit if you want to get complicated, which would include the internal resistance of the battery and all sorts of stuff. But what's the resistance in this circuit? We know these two values, so we know 182 amps and we know 8.6 volts. So 8.6 divided by 182, 0.0472 ohms. Well, there's a load of other digits there too, but you get what I'm saying. Basically, somewhere inside that starter motor is an internal short that is pulling a massive amount of current, which is why the voltage drop is so extreme. Obviously if the current went down, the voltage drop would go up, because Ohm's law being what it is. Does that make sense? Right. We've got some sort of an internal short. I suspect there's something going on with the starter motor. What else can I tell from this? I can tell that the ground is good because it's pulling this much current. So we're on the ground, the current clamp is on the ground wire going to the battery, and it's flowing 182 amps back to the battery. So the engine ground is good. That much we do know. We're going to need to take the starter motor off and inspect. I suspect, I mean, it might just be full of carbon dust. We can strip the starter, clean all the carbon dust from the brushes out, and we can test across the commutator and get involved. I can get a starter for one of these for £120, so it's almost not worth the labour dicking around. Let's get the starter off and have a look inside. But this is basic starter motor voltage drop, current draw testing. Just thought that might be slightly interesting, and we can tell from this that there's a good ground and stuff, and the resistance in the circuit, so effectively in the starter motor, is a bit low. Let's get this, I'm waffling, aren't I? Let's get this starter motor off and see what's going on internally. I'm going to be a little bit loath to do too much with the starter motor, given I can get a complete new unit for not a lot of money. Don't like being a parts changer, but very often if the customer's paying and you can get cheap parts and you know there's an issue with a part, there's no point in taking it apart. You know what I'm saying? Right, starter motor off. So the starter motor is buried on the front of the engine up here. These water pipes are in the way. Nice, easy to get coolant drain. So drain the coolant, that pipe off, that pipe off. There's two bolts, and then there's a cable on the starter, and it pops out this way out of the engine, and then, yeah, it's a pain in the arse. So let's get that off and get it on the bench and get it apart, see what's going on. I remember this thing, wasn't it some sort of adjustable valvey thing? Can't remember. There was something. Oh, I don't want to get water all over the camera. Yeah, look, it's like a turny thing. Was it for different... It was a bypass, wasn't there? I can't remember what it was for. Well, the coolant is surprisingly not minging. That's been done quite recently by the looks of it. Why are you having a fucking giraffe? You're gonna make me take the fucking engine out to get this starter out, are you? What in the fucking world? Oh, that thermostat's in the way. Oh, for God's sake. Why are you doing this to me? Somewhere there's a fucking human that designed this. I'd like to punch him in the face. Oh, fucking hell. Ah! You actually going to come out? Oh, fuck. Now it's stuck. If I could actually just take the top off that thermostat housing, although I can't get to that back bolt. Maybe just that pipe would be enough. Wowzers, that's... yeah. Turnage? Bit of turnage? Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's try and get in this thing. I don't know how seized up these screws are going to be. Turns out... oh no, that one's out. One and... will it come out? Ah, yes, okay. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Try and get that end off. Check out my copper and hide. Has anybody else got one that used? Wowzers. It's well, the brushes aren't completely worn out. I'll tell you what I don't like. So it's yeah, it's jammed up with carbon dust. I don't like this corroded connector here. Let's get a 10mm spanner and try and get that apart. And actually, that's not quite what I thought it was. I thought that was going to the brushes, but it's going to the other end of the winding. Yeah, I don't want to get into this. That off there. It's the brush holder. Don't want this video to turn into an electric or DC electric motor video. There's all sorts of tests you can do with electric motors. Just know this, that you can test across the commutator and stuff. That bearing is rough as guts. There's a needle roller in that end. They never go wrong. I'm going to get another starter for it. They're so cheap, it's just not worth, by the time I've messed around fitting brushes and, you know what I'm saying, cleaning it out, I'm just going to get another starter for it, bolt the new one on. Don't want to be a parts changer, and I should probably get into, you know, cleaning up the commutator, which isn't that worn, testing the windings in. Yeah, That's not what this video is about, is it? Let's get another starter on order. The ECU is coming, and let's reconvene. I can't help myself, can I? I just wanted to talk a little bit about this starter motor because it's slightly unusual. Normally with a DC motor or a DC starter motor, let's put it that way, normally they're permanent magnets, so the magnets in the body are permanent, and then the rotating piece with a commutator on is the electromagnet. What they do with this design is you have a positive in, so when the starter solenoid is not, what the hell's a solenoider? When the starter solenoid is engaged, and this is effectively connected to the positive terminal of the battery, the current flows from the battery and flows through these are windings. They're not just permanent magnets, although they are magnetized, they are slightly magnetic. These are effectively electromagnets. So there's another point of failure there, if you like. Anyway, let's not get too into that. These become an electromagnet, so the current flows through these coils, comes out on this wire, and goes to, how well is that coming out on camera, goes to this brush. Okay, the current flows through the commutator, through the winding, back out the other brush to ground on this side. So there's a bit more going on with these starters because of this. What is normally a permanent magnet is actually an electromagnet. Yeah, just a slightly quirky design. If you take a modern starter motor apart, you'll find that you've got permanent neodymium, I can never say that word, magnets in the, yeah. Right, let's leave that be. Chuck that in the scrap pile probably, and let's get the new starter on order. See you soon. New starter motor's arrived. Let's get a little bit of grease for that O-ring. Let's get this in. We're making progress. Lube it up. Okay. Should I probably put it next to the old one and make sure it's the right one? Ow. It looks like it's the right one. Come on now. There we go. Happy days. Right, I'll get this buttoned up, and then we'll probably do some amperage draw, voltage drop testing with this one, just as a comparison with the other one, while we're waiting for the replacement ECU to arrive. Right, catch you in a bit. Okay, Coke. So starter's on. I haven't put any coolant in it or anything. It's literally just bolted the starter to it. I just want to see if it cranks faster, which it should do. Oh yes, that's better. And it's not going to start because the ECU isn't connected. I'm waiting for the other one to arrive. That's 5,000% better. Let's get the amp clamp and the voltmeter and do another current voltage testy thing. Okay guys, so exactly the same procedure as last time. The only difference being I'm not doing a screen record because, just because. Right, start the scope. So we've got 20 volt scale, 200 amp scale, 1 second time base. Cranky, cranky. Oh, it's sprightly turning over. Stop that. Heard that sprag clutch make a bit of a complain a bit then. What do we got? Come on, scope. What's happening? Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Zoom in on this. In fact, you can see, let me just show you this. It probably would be better if I did a screen record, wouldn't it? We can see where the sprag clutch let go there. See the reduction in current flow. Anyway, that's not why we're here. let's look at, what have we got for current flow? 140, what's that? 149.3 amps. Sorry, my hand's in the shot, and the voltage drop 10.5 volts. So I don't want to get into it more than that. You can see we've got a lot less voltage drop and nearly 50 amps less current. Let's leave that there. I haven't put coolant in it or dealt with those coolant pipes for the radiator, so I'm going to do that now, get some coolant back in it. I was just keen to do this test and just see how it cranked. ECU should arrive at some point today. Let's get some coolant in it, get it ready for when the ECU arrives, and then fingers crossed we'll gonna make a little duck or something, and that's quite silhouette, isn't it? I need my kids. Anyway, fucking hell, squirrel. Right, I'll see you in a bit. Look what's just arrived. Okay. Okay. Well, it's definitely... I went right round the houses trying to understand different model years. Obviously, there's the 4 ignition pickup models and the later one. I went right round the houses. There's lots of different part numbers of these. Whether they've got V-boost on or not, it would seem. You get what I'm saying. Yeah, I had a right job trying to find the right one. This is the only one on eBay. But this is definitely the right one for that bike. Looks decidedly second-hand, doesn't it? But it's nearly 40 years old, so cross your fingers for me. Right, let's get this on the bike, see what happens. Ugh. Okay, so I confess, I haven't even got coolant in it yet, because it came just after that, well, about half an hour after I did that, you know what I'm saying. I didn't have time to do me coolant, but I don't care, it'll run for a few minutes without coolant in it. Okay, let's plug that in. Oh god, I feel nervous, guys. Put that there. Right. Bit of chokeage. Contact. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Hang on, I'm pretty sure there's fuel in the carbs. Let's not panic just yet. Let's get some more fuel connected up. Okay, let's have some fuel. There's fuel flowing in there, okay. Did I just turn that back off? I did, didn't I? Turn that back on. Come on now. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh no! Right, hang on, where's the red ECU gone? Let's just swap that back. Fucking motorbikes. Oh, fuck me. Can you see that? Is that coming out on camera? Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Fucking oh god, the universe really doesn't want this motorbike to run. Oh, for frog snacks. Come on, focus. That is one of the, you know what it is, look, it's all furry. Fuck's sake. Let's just plug this back in quickly. Oh. Yeah, okay, it's fucking different. Okay, it's trying to fire. sake. Right, what we're going to do now. The only one on eBay. I waited, I mean, how long is it since the last update on this bike? It's been the best part of 2 weeks waiting for this to come. Oh, for fuck's sake. Let's you can get inside these. Let's get these 4 screws undone and have a look. I'm a bit scared to look in here. It's obviously got damp at some point. Oh my days. Are we getting that? I'll take some pictures as well, flash them on the screen, but oh my god. The crustiness. Can we get the board out as well? I don't know. Maybe. I'll look at the other side. It's probably not as simple as reattaching that pin, I'm guessing. You shouldn't really be taking it apart, should I? But it's fucked at this point. Let's get something to prise that up with. I don't want to get amongst this, because I got to get these pins. You understand? It's going back. I'm not getting. Oh God, I'm not getting any more involved than I already have been. I think what's likely going to happen is this thing is going to end up with a new ECU on it. Not a new Yamaha one, although I did find one. CMS&L have one, and it's £1,300, dollars even, euros even. So that's not happening. Well guys, I thought when I started filming this episode that this one might be the end of it, but apparently this is at least 5 parts, this Vmax fix, because I don't know how long the edit is at this point, but I know it's over half an hour. So this, hopefully the eBay return will be easy. And I'll see you on the next one. What time is it? 4 minutes to 5. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. See you on the next one. I was just looking back at that footage. There was a screw in the middle of the board, wasn't there? And you're all screaming at me, probably saying, Jim, there's another screw. So I managed to get that board up a little bit. I think that tells us all we need to know. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you very soon.